Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. We can just, it's good time for us to have a little rest. In Buddhism, certainly we believe that we must have the first discipline, what we call people like to translate it as precepts, but I think maybe the best to translate more like the virtue. The virtue means that certainly highly involved with the discipline. And this is what we're trying to do. For example, like sitting here, be quiet, right? So, and that's a kind of like a discipline that means you establish your virtue. And the second, and then we try to calm our mind, and so that we have at least a little bit of understanding or the experience of the concentration. I mean, you can focus without distraction. And then the third, and then we might become to a little understanding, at least for the beginning, that sometimes when your mind calm down, you could think, you can think differently, and this is how you might have a little wisdom. 首先，这边有没有人不会听英文的 ？Do I have to speak Chinese too? Okay, I think then why don't we just start sit comfortable the way that you like to, and then close your eyes. Don't worry, I'm not going to hit your head, And just close your eye, and it's a good time to relax a little bit. Close your eyes and then start to relax your physical body first. You can begin with start to relax the top of your head and then your forehead. Yeah, please close your eyes. Okay, it's okay. Just close your eyes. Very simple. 就是先闭上眼睛吧。那就首先就是放松好 ，and then start to relax everything on your head. Yeah, your nose, your cheek, your chin, your mouth, your ears, the upper back, lower back. Okay, 简单说就是整个头上都先放松。And then now you can start to relax your neck, the front, the sides, the back, or internal. And then relax your shoulders, your arms, your palms, and even your fingers. And then relax your body, your chest, abdomen, upper back, lower back, left and right side of your body. And also relax anything below your waist, your hips, your leg, your knee, your leg, basically your feet, and then your toes, one by one, just relaxed. Now, once you're relaxed, don't worry about your posture. Stay how you are, that's fine. The most important, just relaxed. No demanding. No question. Just stay at the present, how you are, where you are. Now, automatically, if you're relaxed, you might start to feel the body have a movement, moving. So that means your breath. You can feel your movement. Inhaling, exhaling, expanding, contracting, anything. But please, don't think. Just feel it. You move this way, you move that way. You move this way, you move that way. No judging, nothing, just stay. This is very simple. Directly feel it. You move this way, you move that way. It can expanding, contracting. It can be just up, down, up, down. If your mind starts to think something, don't worry, it's very natural. Then you have to understand thinking, 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 and then back to observing your movement in the body. You hear something, learn to be disciplined, okay? This is what we call 戒定慧的戒. When you hear something, you know hearing, 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 and then back. You find your mind is not happy, you have to know, I'm not happy, not happy, not happy, and back to your movement. If you feel that you breathe heavy, don't control it. Then you know breathing heavy, heavy, heavy. And then back just to simply observe your movement. That means your breath taking place in your physical body. If you know you're yawning, you have to know you're yawning, 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 and then back to a movement. Don't control your breath. If you really want to have a deep breath, you know you're going to have a deep breath, and then back. Be natural and just relax. Relax. And observing the movement in the body. If you feel sleepy, if you feel the body heavy, just know there's heavy, 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 and back to a movement. Remember, don't fight for your thought. You have your thought, you know you have thought, good, it's very good. Just say thought, 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 and back. Anything you know, just give a name and back to your movement. Make a note of what it is, and then back to your movement. If you feel uncomfortable, try not to move. Just know uncomfortable, uncomfortable, uncomfortable. Just back to observing your movement. Don't respond. Learn to be a good observer and learn to be a good selective. Only observe one thing now. In the future, you don't have to. You can observe everything, but at first, learn to observe one thing. Just like you're reading a book. As a child, learn how to read a book first. Not learn how to read about the content of the book now. Just learn to read the book first. But in a deeper meditation, you have to learn to contemplate the meaning or the content of the books. But now just read the book. Now you read the breath. Learn to read your breath. Anything disturbs you, anything comes to you, don't reject, don't fight. Just make a note. Hearing, hearing, hearing. Itching, itching, itching. Uncomfortable, uncomfortable, uncomfortable. You have deeper breath, deeper breath, deeper breath. And back to your only just observing movement. Dot, dot, dot. And then dot, dot, dot. And then dot, dot, dot. Then you can say, I don't want to think, don't want to think, don't want to think, and back. If you have a nose stuffing, you have the nose stuffing, stuffing, stuffing. If your nose itching, just observing itching, itching, itching. And then back to your movement. Please don't respond unless you really, really struggle a long time. This is what we call discipline. Try not to move. If there's stiffness, you don't feel comfortable, just make a note. This is how you train your mind. You know, uncomfortable, 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 back. I will address this philosophy later. If you feel itching, you know itching, itching, itching. And try to just observe in your breath movement. Now if you can more observe in your breath. You are in breath, you are out breath. You are in breath, you are observing your out breath. But don't use a language. Just know the movement closely. It's like this. It is like that. It is like this. It's like that. And please try, you're all adult here. Just like when people telling a kid, don't move and read your book, and you start still moving. I know a lot of adults, it's easy to teach others, but they don't know how to teach themselves. If you feel uncomfortable, you will not die here, for sure. Don't worry. Just know uncomfortable, uncomfortable, uncomfortable. If you want to move, you have to know that I want to move. Then you move once, certainly not many times. Now maybe if you're able to do, you can go further. Just know you are having a long like this, long like that. Sometimes a little short like this, a little short like that. Sometimes long like this and short like that. But also no language, just understanding it become this way, it become that way. If you are not able to see that, don't worry, just stay like this, like that, like this, like that. You can also understand further, we have a little minute to go, that you might be breathe faster or slower. The movement getting faster or slower. Or shorter or longer. If you feel uncomfortable, the same way, just know uncomfortable, uncomfortable, and then back. One thing for sure, you will not die because you feel uncomfortable. Just learn to be disciplined, and then that's how you can establish your concentration. If you feel a little drowsy, you have to know you're drowsy, drowsy, drowsy. If you feel itching, you have to know you're itching, itching. Try not to respond. Just use your observing. Don't change it, but just observe it. Okay, when you hear the bell running, so don't open your eyes immediately. First, still observe it, and then back to yourself, kind of like just know you're breathing. You don't have to observe closely, but just know you're breathing. And then check the whole body, make sure this time you need to relax your body again. Okay. So now you can back to your body, and then make sure you're relaxed. And only as far as you can relax the whole body, and then you find you're doing quite okay at least, and then slowly, slowly, slowly opening your eyes. Okay, no matter whether your meditation doing okay or not, but at least you did 25 minutes meditation. Okay, look at the time. I didn't lie. Okay, I don't know where's the time. Okay, up there. Okay, right. It's usually it's refreshing if you at least learn to be that way. Well, today I like to take this opportunity. We were inviting. We were having a whole day class by the Dr. Thong Tham, about his understanding or his healing system. Okay, and sometimes what we do is also, since we are in a monastery, I like to share some other ideas about. Certainly not about healing the physical body, and that's not my subject, and I'm not expert on that, But maybe some ideas about what Buddhism think what is the, at least so far understand in a philosophical way, how Buddhism think that we can liberate from, to be enlightenment in a way. That means out of the suffering. Okay. Certainly for sure that in Buddhism, the main thing, because in Buddhist understanding, Buddhism believe in reincarnation, of course. Okay. Presume that we do have reincarnation. Presume that. Okay. It's not necessarily you have to understand it or believe it. But then, if really we have reincarnation, when we die, we are going to, reborn again. But say that it's really true. So we almost like we're going in the circle, and then we have to come back here again. Or maybe you're lucky because your mind is good, according to Buddhist understanding, then you might be reborn to heavens. And Buddhism different in many levels, many different type of heavens. Okay, but anyway, so at least you're reborn there. And also Buddhism believe that when you're reborn in the heavens, you still, might be have to reincarnate again when you died, even though you might be live very, very long life, long time. So all this. Now, say that if that's true, one of the big problem actually to the Buddha before he attained Buddhahood, he was different from other religious people in India in those days. He was trying to think that, what is actually the ultimate way I can completely cut off my suffering. One of the big suffering, if that is true, there's a reincarnation, then I don't want to reborn again. That sounds very strange to lots of people. Okay. Now, that is not important at the moment, whether you have to believe that exists or not. But for sure, in our life, we face lots of problems. Okay? The most common we know, when we have illness, we suffer from illness. And then when we are, when we meet somebody we don't like, we suffer from meeting the hostile persons. And when somebody you like leave you, you were not able to see that person again, you suffer from living from people you like and they leaving you. And also, you want to get something, either money, either health, either what, but you don't get it, you also feel suffer from that. Right? And those are very obvious things in our life. I'm not sure that everybody would think about that as something very important. Maybe not. But to Buddhism, it is very important thing. I'm talking about if you practice Buddhism. You're really, really not talking, but really, really think that is some issue. Is there a way that we can solve the problem? Can I solve not to be suffer again when I meet people I don't like? Can I solve the problem that people might be alike or maybe something alike that leave me, it caused me suffer, but can I solve the problem? Right? Also, can I solve the other problem that I want to get something, but you know that in the life for sure, you doesn't get it all the time, right? Can I solve the problem? Now, this is actually what the Buddha trying to offer, one of alternative way. Definitely that has to do with practice. And firstly, to understand, does it logically sound reasonable? And then we come to the practice part. Okay. As I say, for the Buddha, one of the big things, it's not only those things also, it's even if I really have to reincarnate again, I had to born again, that means I'm going through all this kind of problem again. When I was a child, I have no way to do any choice, right? You were born in what kind of family? You've been almost like destined. Buddhism doesn't believe in destined, but almost like destined, you are there. And how your parents like to treat you, you're bound to be treated that way. And when you want to get something, you don't always not to get something sometimes. And so on, blah, 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 all this happened. And that's, if you look at your whole life, until now, I'm 40-something. When I look at my life, until when I was a child until now. There's a happy moment, there's no happy moment. But if ultimately, when you look at everything, even though when I have a happy moment, I get something, but the next moment I don't get something, right? So that's how the whole life I'm going through. I guess maybe the easier to say is we're bound to meet something we don't like. I have to say that I'm working here, looking after this monastery. I always face something I don't like. People I don't like. Even things I don't like. So how Buddhism solve that problem? Because since we think that Buddhism really can solve the problem, that you're suffering. Right. Now in Buddhist practice, we know that, firstly we have to agree first. And the way, what is, I don't know, when I say agree means, I myself agree that first, that I have those problems. I meet people I don't like. Some people I like, they will just go for travel because it doesn't help me to do my job. Somebody, I don't want it to be here, give me trouble, but these people appear in front of you all the time, right? So, am I right? You don't have this problem? And this is in Buddhism, that's suffering, and that's how it happens, right? And sometimes I don't want to be sick, and I got sick, ill. Sometimes maybe I like to get ill actually, because I can take a rest, right? But when I get ill, I feel also uncomfortable to me, right? So, in other words, your mind changing all the time. And also, I have to say, I still wish I'm 18 years old, 21, 23, and when I get hurt, I can recover so soon, right? But I'm 40-something. I feel like my body changed tremendously, okay? And those are the facts. And we are talking honestly thing, that's a fact. I cannot change it. Yeah, I know that there's some cosmetic very helpful. It still can keep me look younger, but I never use it, But I'm sure it helps you, But still, it doesn't last forever, right? So in other words, meaning maybe change you one way, but another way cannot change it. Okay. Right. We have those things, and this is how the Buddhism actually start to ask us for practice reason to look at the life itself. This is what we talk about Four Noble Truths. We have the truth of the suffering. Now, however, the problem is that we still think that we know the truth of suffering. To Buddhism, for the practice purpose, no. The same thing, like today you learn. Theory is one, practice is different thing. Okay? This is why I'm going to dive into the subject about the practice. Just now we do meditation. It looks very simple. Sit. Close our eyes. You can open your eyes, but you got more distraction. That's why it's better to close. You can be more observing, internal. Okay. When you open your eyes, this is how our habitual will look outside. When we sit, I say, don't move. It's pretty easy. I cannot to move 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. But maybe if you are not used to, 10 minutes, you feel, it's so hard here. What does that mean? That means you don't like this kind of feeling, right? And then we want to move, change it. After that, it's so hard here. You change it. And then next time you think, no, I think I should get a cushion, right? Now I don't ask you to do that. When in the retreat, people take different things. And they will put a cushion. So nice. So you can sit maybe 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, they also still move. They feel what it is. I thought it's so nice, but it's not. I must get the $200 one next time, for the good cushion. And then you maybe really buy a good cushion, $200 one. Wow, that's worth my money, because I can sit more than 10 minutes. Now you can add up your time to sitting for 30 minutes. But that's maybe true, but that might not be true too. Say that if you go out, today your boss or somebody really, have an argument with you, that seat worth 200, 300 or 5,000, whatever, you still find this horrible thing. You're just almost like, when your mind is not very happy, you feel like you're just almost like sitting on the needle, right? Okay, you don't want to sit. You think, fine, I want to stand up, so you stand up. After you feel the neck pain, right? And you thought, okay, I lie, so you lie there. Oh, after 5 hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, you feel the whole body was sore. You stand up again, you sit. So, I know that I'm not asking you to think something horrible, but what happened now? We almost like we can never be happy. When you have the best chair, you don't feel happy. When you don't have the best chair, you might feel not happy too. You might not have the worst chair like this iron. You can be happy, but you have the worst chair also, but you can be not happy. Now, how we solve this problem? And also, even though how much you are happy with that, the longer you sit on a chair, you're bound to want to move. Is that a problem to move that? No, it's not a problem. But does it mean that I don't want to move all the time? No, you don't have to move all the time. Then what is the answer and question? Now, when you sit, if you feel there's a heart not there, we never actually really understanding what happened to us. We only just respond unconsciously. We just thought we need to move. That's how it gives me comfort. And then after some time, say 5 minutes, I change my position this way. Then you still feel, no, not right. Then you change position this way. After some time, you still feel not right. So, in Buddhism think that, in theory first, why we move? I cannot tell in physical reason, I can tell in mental reasons. Because we believe that there must be a way that can comfort your mind. That's why we move. Is it wrong to believe that? No. It's true. If you move, you feel better. It's a fact. But then, after 5 minutes, then you find there's a problem again. And then you move further away, and you feel comfort again. That's what the Buddha, before his enlightenment, it is said, he was under meditation, and then he can go to a very deep, profound mental state. You can stay there for a long time. You just feel calm, feel really, really nice. And of course, this is our dream, We hope that we can do that, if we want to. And unfortunately, people think that is enlightenment. No. And then you also think that after you stay there for a long time, have you ever do that? Like, you might be come to the monastery here, say today, perhaps, I'm not sure, but lots of people telling me that the first time especially they come to the monastery, oh, so nice. They feel the mind so calm, That's okay. But if you stay here for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you start to feel bored, right? The calm, what it is for, right? And that's maybe one reason. And the other reason, you start to feel like, where's my calm? I don't feel calm now, right? It's actually, when you tell one thing is that the nature, there's some nature going on, Buddhism call as an impermanent nature, something impermanent. That impermanence, if you don't realize that, understand that, and that we also always wanted to find something called permanent. the concept, something called comfort, permanent, nice. That, of course, is our nature. We're looking for that. But then we thought that would be the way to solve our problem, and that with the way that you have all your life will solve the problem. Then to Buddhism, yes, you are in better control because you know what you're doing, you're in better control, but at least to the Buddhist understanding, this is not the ultimate way to solve your suffering, mental suffering, say. Okay, you could be maybe shut your mouth. Sorry, my mouth. Shut your mind. Shut your mind into a state like so nice. This is what we call samadhi, samadhi in Chinese, or concentration, samadhi, or sammei, or you can shut your mind in a very nice state. Maybe higher. Say the simple, just shut your mind in a state. Whenever you want, you just be there. Because you're able to close your senses, except your mind can stay in a very nice state long time. You feel nice. But when you leave that kind of state, you have to leave that kind of state because you have to eat. You have to go to the toilet, right? And whatever reason, you have to leave. You cannot stay like this. The Buddha is not like this. I into that nice way, and then I'm like freezing myself, right? So like freeze, I put myself in the freeze, and I stay the coma almost like for 1,000 years. It's not. Then you have to leave, and then when you leave, you're bound to see something you don't like, right? I don't like this color, that person. When I tell him to sit still, he doesn't want to sit still. That you still come to find there's a very subtle, even my mind was in very better control, you're still bound to see something you disagree with. I'd like to hear something from you first. Do you have that problem? You don't. It's very important to think whether you don't. If you don't have the problem, I'd like you to give a talk actually. Tell me how that you never have such a problem. So if you do, right? Now, if you do have the problem, what the Buddha actually giving a solution? I hope that, because I'm trying to make a simple version. Okay, giving back to the example, if I were able to sit, and then I feel the chair is so hard, so you might start to think, who make this kind of chair? Or what just now when I was nice, hearing the class, I didn't feel this chair so hard, but now when I close my eyes and just I find this chair so hard, right? Your consciousness aware something there, and you feel the hardness there. And then we have a habit, or we believe that I don't want this thing, because everybody mostly likes soft thing, right? So you think, I need to have a softer thing, but now I cannot move. And I feel my body started to aching. Something telling me not right. And then you start to move your body. Okay. Now, another thing I need to say, when you start to move your body, tell me first, do you think that your body feel aching or anything wrong? Is that because you are sitting and close your eye and meditate, it happened there, or it should be there already? Maybe two possibilities. One, because when I close my eyes, it's there. It shouldn't be there. And the second, no, it's always there. But it's just because my eyes were looking something else, my ear were hearing something, or I was relying on food, anything, or I just only would pay attention to some nice part, I don't want to pay attention to the unnice part, whatever, the feelings I don't like. So maybe it's there, but I just didn't, somehow my mind asked me not to pay attention on that. Because we all like a comfort, pleasure, feelings, right? No? So, say that if you really can just stay, and you force yourself, that's what we call the sila in the original language, mean the precept or the virtue. You still think, no, I just be more disciplined now. Look at it, what it is. Say that you're able to just look at it. It's hard. The body here is part hard, but then also some other part of body feel soft, and some part of body feel light. Some part of body feel heavy. Some part of my body, say, maybe feel warmer. Some part of my body feel colder, and some part of my body feel my breath moving, right? And then I somehow feel also my physical body somehow feel like there's a pressure in some part. Hello? Do you think I'm talking something nonsense? I don't know. But, I can tell one thing, you can do that. Okay? It's not very difficult. You can do that. And you can also still somehow feel there's a hollow part in the body, like, like ear, there's a hollow part, the space there. Okay. Now you can directly feel that. Now this is what Buddhism actually say. If you have able to let your mind not to be distracted, or your mind be disciplined, and in a good direction, if you be directed, and you're able to feel those things, and everybody here can do that. You don't have to be highly educated, to understand that. You just feel it. And you find very strange. The moment that you can feel it, you feel mind so calm. But only when you say, I don't want this. Let's say, my shoulder was stiff. I don't want that. Your mind don't feel calm because you feel unpleasure. Okay. But the problem is, my shoulder really stiff, hard there, and I don't like it. But then if you can observe it, it's hard there, and I don't like it, and your mind still calm. Only if I don't want this, you want to change it. Only when you want to change it, your mind get distracted. Okay. I don't know whether you agree, but I hope that I can continue. Okay. Now, there's a way in Buddhism usually. So sometimes, because our mind is just like a monkey, so you need to get people give you some idea first to let your mind be focused. Okay. In tradition, so one of the idea, of course, because we believe in kind of like religion, like Buddha, so it's said that people who are very powerful in meditation, so and then they're able to see themselves or other people in the past life, right? So like the Buddha, okay, is believed that. So I don't mean that you have to believe it's the same way. I just want to say it's just a way, a mean, a technique, a method to help your mind stay there first. You must have something to help you sometime to stay there because you don't have faith. You don't have confidence. When I say faith, not believe what? You don't have confidence. So in tradition, then people would think, oh, the Buddha see the past life, see the people passing away, born again, passing away, born again, passing away, born again. Okay, and then that helps them to feel like looks like our life is never-ending story. It's just born and passing away, born again, passing away, born again. You start to feel like humble. Actually, you're not trying to think. This is my way of thinking. You start just be like accept the fact. Yeah, maybe it's true. Buddha's like that. The second, according to Buddhism, belief that of course that the earth everywhere can never stay forever. It sounds very pessimistic, kind of like pessimistic, but it's not pessimistic. It's asks you to look at the reality. The reality is, I love my country, but a billion years after, I don't know whether this country exists anymore. Okay, I love this place. I don't know, and after how long it's this Zhongyang monastery. Let's say 2,000, 3,000 years. You never know. Maybe a bomb camp or whatever. And just gone. Or maybe nobody take care of it and just collapse by itself, right? So nothing you started to cling on, then I should, where? Then you start to feel like, there's nothing I have to be rely on. We usually become the proud keepers because we believe something and that they keep you on, right? Now you almost like, what is the purpose? Nothing I can keep on. Now, this kind of mind helps us to feel like the only thing I can rely on is myself and the truth. Nothing there. But what is the truth? So you just observing, because this is definitely, it's go with you. You have all these kind of feelings. Now with that, now in Buddhism believe that you will start to understand something else. What? You have to start to contemplate, when I'm younger, I'm like that, but when I'm getting the age, become that and this, my physical started to change. Okay? And this is how you started to keep away your attachment to your physical. And then also, during the young time, you might be slim, and then when you are in a certain time, you're getting fat, in a certain time, you're getting slim. So your physical body change all the time. The feature, right? And then also the shape. And then your feature change all the time also. You were beautiful at the time, you were ugly at the time. It's a relative sense, but you do have that. When you're sad, you have a very ugly face. When you're happy, you have a bright, nice face. But that never lasts long. Then you have the sad face, and then happy face, and the sad face, and the happy face, and the sad, and happy, right? So then this is how you don't hold on any idea. You just find changing there. And what else? You have nice clothes you love, and you will get dirty, right? And the clothes will get nice again and get dirty, and then when you wear it long time, it worn out. How about food? I get nice food to eat, but when I swallow it, it comes inside my body, different thing. It come out also different thing. But I still need the food, make me feel nice, feel energy. So I take the food again, it comes up in that way. I hope that so far I don't want to continue too much before. Did I say anything wrong with that? No. It just direct you to think in a different way, okay? If I say anything is not fact, tell me, okay? And the same thing, I have a nice car, anything you have, and then you get old, like my car actually. I bought that a few years ago in Boston, and now I used to be very proud of it. Look at my cheap car, I spent $1,700,000. So, and then, however, now it looks like an old car. I still feel very sorry for the car anyway. It goes away. That's we experienced that. The same thing, the house, you stay, but luckily normally house are longer, last longer, so you don't see that easily, but that definitely everybody know in the rational part. Unless you really repair and change it, it's always there, changing, right? Okay. And then, what else? So even including, let me maybe say the light, but that light in Buddhism refer to many. The light refer to the light we have, right? But the light also, sometimes we feel the light getting brighter, sometimes we find the light getting dimmer, but that also to do with the meditation. Because in meditation, people know when they close their eyes, it's bright. But sometimes the brightness becomes darker and brighter and darker and brighter. It never stays forever, also true. So, yeah, I think last I want to say, actually there are many, but maybe something like a relationship. right? Something nicer, you have a good friend, sometimes you argue, sometimes very nice, sometimes argue, sometimes very nice, sometimes argue. Either because of couples, because of the friends, because of your sister and brothers, or your parents, right? Those are the facts. But we don't want to think that normally, because we thought we want something nice to keep on our life. And we thought that's a way we can solve our problem. To Buddha say, it's true, it does solve your problem when you find something nice to you, but not the forever solving problem. Now, normally in Buddhism, if we give a talk, I don't give this kind of talk because people don't like it. People like to say, when you meditate, you have a better life, you can born to heavens. Bam! Everybody happy. I'm giving you this example because I face the same problem. It's true. So, what is do they have any alternative? Since this is we are all talking about alternative, even medical, healing system. But we also give you some idea. Think, is there true? There's an alternative. First, I embrace and focus all this. There's a hardness here. There's a softness here. There's some feelings I don't like it happen. But there's some feeling I like it happened. But there's some other feelings I don't know. Just no feelings happens. And this is a fact, it's there. Now, when your mind is able to focus on that, and slowly, you will find this sort of thing changing. You have no way to control it. We want to control it. We all want, we don't be this, we don't be like that, we don't be like this, we don't be like that. We don't want to be sad, right? We don't want to meet somebody we don't like. We don't want to facing the problem that I'm going to meet I don't get something, right? I myself don't want it. I don't know you. Maybe you're very powerful. I myself definitely don't want it. Now, this kind of meditation in Buddhism, that's what we call the insight meditation, which is normally only for very advanced people to practice. But I like to give this idea because it's helpful for your life. When you're observing this thing, your elements, your phenomena in your body changing all the time, your real life will be like that. Whatever you see will be like this. Whatever you possess will be like that. You have money, you don't have money, you have money, you don't have money, you have more money, and less, because the money can never stay the same way. It's more or less, more or less, more anyway, Sometimes extreme, you can come to the zero, and then you come to the, that's how your whole life is, that's how, don't talk about past life, even this whole life you are like this. You're facing all this changing. Now, this kind of changing actually helping you become what? This is what I want to say, also important. Become humble. You become humble. You accept the nature is like this. Now, that humbleness is not very easy, let me tell you. It's very easy to hear about that, but it's not easy. That humbleness actually would dissolve what Buddhism thinks, your ego. Thinking, what is this, what is that? But no, you just back to a very simple understanding, this is how the nature is about. Okay. And then with that, you have a kind of feelings, interesting. You feel joy. Because when you become humble, no pride comes to you. You see this thing with acceptance. When you have accepted this thing, you start to feel a kind of joy. Okay, maybe this is hard for you to imagine in meditation. Say the life example. Maybe the easier to say is, okay, imagine that I don't like this person. Okay. When today, everybody would say, oh, Dhammadeva, you are the best. Okay. I may have few reaction. My reaction was when I see that this person, because I'm very powerful, right? People say I'm best. Or maybe, superficially, I can also still, hi, how are you doing? Hey? Actually, my mind thinks that's evil person, bad person, right? But superficially, we are not talking anything superficial. It's internal, you know very well, you don't like this person. And then you might be cursing the person, so damn it. And people just telling me how good I am. Now I meet these people, just pull me down, okay? But now, maybe then you learn different religions, say Buddhism, think, okay, think about Buddha, 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 Buddha. So you might give a little karma, but you still don't like this person. Maybe you're thinking, actually Buddhism teach you how to like this person. Maybe in a way it's true, not to like this person, how to understand this person is true. But I'm saying here, the Buddhists ultimately ask us to understand, spontaneously say, I know I don't like this person, and it's a fact, and this person will make me, whenever I see him, that it will make me feel miserable, okay? And it's a fact. And I'm not looking for something that he make me feel miserable, but the other people make me feel nice, just like you change your position. If you have the desire, I want to pay my attention to the other person, but I don't accept these people is like this. That's how the world nature is. I'll just give you one example like this. I mean, in case, okay, if this is really true, that you're able to understand, I bow to meet people I don't like, and this is a fact, and this is the nature, and this is no way you can change it. How shall I? Imagine, or you cannot imagine that. Think about in your life, have you ever have this at least a very short moment you have this experienced? How shall mind? You don't feel, you understand the suffering. You embrace the suffering, but you don't feel pain. No? Hello, I need some response. If you're against, it's fine. You say, I don't believe in you, And I like to maybe help me to clarify my point. Okay, at least, do you think it's possible or not? I want to say that. It's possible, right? So if that is possible, and this is how Buddhism talk about the first noble truth, the truth of the suffering. So that means Buddha actually is interesting, which normal religion don't want to look at that side. He look in a different way. That's Buddhism. We talk four noble truths. He look in a different way, that then you start to understand, you see, my whole life, the life I was born is like this. And we're getting old, so it's like this. And I'm fortunate to say that, okay? Then you can think of me, don't think about you, okay? And I'm going to die, it's like this. I have no way to change that. And I'm also bound to have sickness also, it's like this. That's for physical part. Basically, in physical you can see it. And I'm bound to meet somebody I don't like. And I definitely feel I don't like it. It's like that, right? So, and I bound to be somehow somebody I like leave me, oh, have a good beer, You say, bye-bye, I need to go back, I want to meet my wife. You feel, I have to drink myself, right? So, but we don't drink beer, you know what I'm saying? have a good tea time, that bound to happen. So you understand that nature, he will leave you. Something you like, you leave you. That, of course, including good food, you leave you. Good feelings will leave you, right? A good, wow, this nice drink and leave you, whatever. It's bound. And it's bound to be also, oh, today I want to get this, I hope to this happen, that happened to me. Bound to be you don't meet it all the time, right? You don't meet what you want all the time, right? And ultimately, in Buddhism say that how our look at the world through our physical body, our eyes, ears, nose, this thing, how we think about the words, that itself bound to be always changing. First time I met Dr. Thong Tham, I think he's like this person. I don't know whether he's a crook, basically. I'm sorry. He was a crook. And the second time, I know that was mine. Then I met him, looks like, he feel nice, this person looks very funny, okay. And then the more I talk, I also think, oh, he looks like he has some brand. He's not like no brand person, right? Then sometimes he helped me a little bit. I think, oh, he's a nice person. But sometimes he talked to me some 2 or 3 words. I don't really like it. I don't know whether he's a nice person, right? This is how we are, right? So, anyway, now today I was listening to a class, so I will think, oh, I didn't know that he has such a good logical way of thinking. Okay, I want to say is that you perceive even people through our body, our eyes, our mind, our ears, hearing and that. So you change. Actually, you think that you see the people always the same way. No. That we suffer is only if I think that he always the same. Let's say I think he's a crook, for example. He was a crook. And now I still think he's a crook. And actually that's how I make suffering. So, or I think that he was a nice person. But you know that he's a nice person, of course. But then he can be one day, due to some reason, maybe his wife scolding him, and he saw me. And he was like, kind of like, just not happy. He went to rush to go to restroom. He was just like, and he went to run the restroom. And I can say, he's a bad person, right? And I believe that he's a bad person. And that's how I make suffer. So I'm saying that's me. That's how, that what we say, what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, it's bound to change, And that kind of thing, if I understand, it can be, any possible comes. And that's changing all the time. If you really understand that, you accept that, you start to see the world very differently. People don't treat you nice. That's how it is. Or if you have more reason, more wisdom to understand it, but at least instantaneously, spontaneously, you don't feel anything bad. Because you understand the nature of the suffering. But I bound to meet people I don't like. People, when you say, oh, we have a good time, like tomorrow after the talk, you might be saying, oh, I don't want you to leave, and then you feel sad. Some people are overacting, then they're a big problem. So, but I'm talking about in advance, people are meditate. Living is a natural thing. Getting together is a natural thing. And do we have emotion? Yes. But are we suffering? Are we suffer? Are we feel painful feelings? No. Do you feel unpleasant feelings? Yes. Do you feel happy feelings? Yes. Do you feel neutral feelings? Yes. The wrong way of thinking, people think, I want my life only just to feel happy feeling. That's in Buddhism thing. It's true. You need to train with that. Because if you don't, first to train yourself to the happy feeling first, because then you don't know something called not happy feeling. You have to able to stay happy first, then you know, I don't want to be not happy, and I want to be in a happy. And this is how you be good. And then you start to see, this is actually in Buddhism called the precept and virtue. and Buddhist language we call the concentration, 就是戒跟定 in Chinese, 戒跟定. So that's how we. But then if you want to go to the 戒定慧, the wisdom part, that's what I'm talking, that is not sufficient. When you move to the wisdom part, because you recognize the goodness is important, and you start to love yourself to be good, and then you don't want to harm others. But if you really want to come to the wisdom part to Buddhism, understand that you want to be liberated, you have to be able to recognize that you have the good moment and you will have the bad moment. And you have to understand the good moment and the bad moment basically mean, I don't want it about to believe. I don't want it about to be happen. I want it about to believe. So, and then when you understand, embrace this suffering, now, you're interesting here. You are not just only seeing the thing changing, you are also seeing the thing, how they change. First, I just taught changing, what we call impermanence. But you start to see how things change. That means when I am in this stage, like I'm beautiful, I'm happy, and the next moment I'm not happy. Say this as one example. They have a transparent period. That means happy to not happy. You have to almost like your mind are becoming deeper. You almost like you start to understand happy, unhappy, unhappy also have big unhappy, small unhappy, small unhappy, and big unhappy, right? The same thing for happy, okay? Yeah. But, and then you somehow start to realize that these things there's a transition period. That's why in Buddhism we have a word to say, all formation are impermanent and they are transitioned. That's interesting. You see, there's a changing period. We never link it. We never. Because, okay, don't want to say because now. I need to keep up. Then you start to see the transition period. There's a transition and transition. It is only when you're in meditation. When I say meditation, I don't mean you sit here only. Okay? Your mind are focused with the wisdom, no distraction, and certainly your mind still feel stable, maybe better to say that way, stable. Now you start to see the transition period. Only when you start to see transition period, you also move yourself to understand there is something like happy change to unhappy, unhappy change to little unhappy change to the big unhappy change to the big unhappy, or then change to happy. So now then because of that you see unhappy, happy is just only one, okay? People meditate, as I just mentioned, the light, brighter, dimmer, brighter. Okay, so your thought coming thinking this way, changing to thinking that way, changing to thinking that way, changing to thinking that way, and then you knew that your feelings, so and so and so. So with that, you started to seeing something called arising, ceasing. Arising, ceasing. Okay. Now, only when you're able to observe this arising, ceasing, and rising, ceasing, somehow, if you can keep on, because it's somehow interesting Buddhism, this is how you start to realize that we can observe something directly, but only seeing arising and seeing it ceasing. And only with that, your mind automatically, in a long time, if you're still observing this in your daily life, in your meditation, in your relationship, in everything, right? As I say, you embrace everything happen to you. Okay, you're not fighting. So, and then you start to see ceased. I know this is sound very strange, I'm sorry, but just thinking that might be happen one day to you, okay? If you do happen that to you, congratulations. Your happiness have a big improvement, okay? So then you start to see only ceased. Say, happy, ceased. Sadness, ceased. Happy, ceased. Happy, big happy, ceased. Small happy, ceased, ceased, ceased. My thought, ceased. That thought, ceased. I don't see it arise. As I say, you did see first, arise and go. Arise and go. But now, only see cease, cease. Now, into Buddhist understanding, only that time, you started to realize my perception of everything is not necessarily real. This is why we're back to the Buddhist teaching. It's not necessarily real. And only when you see that they are ceased and ceased not necessarily real, your mind, your pride, even dissolved much more. You don't want to cling on anything. That means you have no tansin. You can be because of attachment. You can be because of your desire. I want this, or attachment. Like you attach something or your view or whatever. That will dissolve. Because thing is gone, just like everything is gone. Going, gone, 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 gone. Now, that time, then you realize, in Buddhism called the emptiness. Okay. Nothing is have the essence. Before you have those experience, people talk about lots of emptiness. I say that's not emptiness, that's space. You can feel there's a space there. No. Your basically your attachment or your desire just nothing to cling on, just is. And this is the time you understand emptiness. Maybe you're asking me, are we still talking the truth for suffering? Yes, you're still talking the truth for suffering. Still in the truth for suffering. Nothing else. Now, when that time, when you see the cease and cease and ceased, actually I can elaborate more, but I think for the time being, I like to stop early and you go back to sleep, and have a cease moment. So I'm saying this means that when there's only cease that you start to understand the emptiness. So actually through that you still understand that itself is suffering. Actually, I think the English term suffering is not a good term, but maybe I usually retain the word called dukkha, because the dukkha means 苦 in Chinese, okay, 苦地, 個苦地嘅苦,苦. Actually, that refer to something that's there, but you have no way to do anything, That means that it's not suffering, like, I feel pain. So only with that also, you started to see there's hopeless. In a way, hopeless, I'm not mean emotionally. So you understand that there's no way that you should be, feel sad, feel sorrow, feel despair, and you feel grief. You don't have to. You don't have to, because that it happened in our life, but you don't have to. So basically, you understand that, then when you look at your life, you have all these things happen to you, and you find all these things itself. What I want to say is that you have no way to control it, right? Hello? Right? You have no way to control it. So when you find that you don't have no way to control it, you start to know, who am I? There's no, in Buddhism call, there's idea. No idea. If idea, I should be able to control it. Those mental unsatisfactory, I should be able to control it, but I no way to control it. So, in other words, you start to understand the suffering first through things changing. Second, with the changing, you understand there's a nature of suffering. There, you have no way to do it. The dukkha there, so you understand the dukkha there. So it means from dukkha, you understand dukkha, okay? And you also understand that things are ceasing, so then you know that there's no true thing there, essence there. So it's suffering, it's dukkha also. And also you understand that you have no way to control it. So from no self, you also understand there's dukkha there. That means the noble truth, means that you attain the truth of the suffering. That means the truth of dukkha. Only that moment, you accomplish this, you start to see how this craving, attachment might arise. You want this, you want that, you want this, you want that. Now, and then you understand how it arises, how you want to attach to that, don't want to let go of that. Because you see that, and it will drops. Don't forget, this is also impermanent, okay? Don't forget, this is also no essence. And don't forget, this is also bound to change. And don't forget, this is also bound to be, you cannot control it. Because of that, so when you see that, those attachment, what we call in Chinese called 贪着, 执着, drops. When it drops, then you know there's no any other way. This is just the only way. That to make you attain nirvana. Okay. In other words, mean you know the Fourth Noble Truth, you know the cause of the suffering. That means makes you feel that way. And you know the path, and you know how it ceases, how it just ceases. And then you know what is the path, what is the way leading you to be ceased of the suffering. Yeah, last thing I want to say few is then people, not because of that they become Buddha immediately. Because of with that they see this, they become a saint in Buddhist understanding, ideology. And then when they become a saint, they have still a lot of defilement there, like habit, you know. But they definitely know the truth already. Nobody can shake their faith because they see how the karmas come to them, how the cause effect come to them, and so and so. So, and then they still need to practice because they know that already. So they maybe only pick up something very simple. And they still, if they have the moment, focus, and the discipline, you know, focused, and also the wisdom, and somebody can remind them, you know, look at that side and see whether you can do that. So if they have those things together, they can be even in a better sainthood, up to the last thing, become like a Buddha, what we call the Arahant, and so on. So I guess my talk, I think maybe for some people it's a little bit, feel, you know, I don't know whether you have used to listen to this kind of talk, and hardly we don't talk this also mostly, because Buddhism usually talk Buddhism to people like, you know, for people who really like, as I say, you know, oh, you want a happy life, have meditation, you feel nice, you know, maybe you have some music, you know, or maybe that, because that's important, true. But that is not really the subject for Buddhism to talk about the Nibbana, the Nirvana. Actually, the subject of talking about the Nibbana, the Nirvana, is certainly you have to understand the Four Noble Truths. That through the practice, you see it. And this is how you ultimately, you can complete, cut off the desire, your attachment. But this is not for normal people. Since you are here in the monastery, I guess it's a good opportunity for you. When we talk about Nirvana, what does it mean? It's also not that simple also. Oh, because people cut off the attachment, you know, I don't attach iPad, so I'm Nibbana. Okay, or I can kill myself, so I'm Nibbana. No. To Buddhism, that's when we say we need to first understanding, listening, 闻思修学, and then you need to contemplate that in your time. Sometimes you might thinking, oh, I hate that person, but then now, oh, this has happened, and you contemplate. And then when I say this happened, you know, in a company you're about to meet people you don't like, you know, so what? You know, I know this has happened, you know, and then you feel happy, you feel nice, right? So, like that, you always need to ponder with the teachings, but that still is not practice. to Buddhism. But it's a part of practice. I mean, sorry, I think I used the wrong word. Because 文思修, the wisdom come from listening, the wisdom come from pondering or rational. But the last one is practice, mean you must have what I just say, the discipline, the focus, and the wisdom. That makes you really see what I just mentioned earlier. And in the whole thing, it become you that time, then you can at least first taste, okay, what is nirvana. And then you go into the nirvana. And then maybe your life be distracted, whatever, but then you know always how to do it when you have time. You should pick up and further cut off all your bad habit. I mean, little small bad habit. Laziness is the worst one, actually, to Buddhism. Laziness. You might be good already, but you still feel lazy. You cut it off, and then you can attain the final liberation. So that's I hope this is a little gift for you, since Dr. Thong Tham was talking about the healing. I don't know he was including the mental healing, but at least to Buddhism, because the last thing when you go reincarnated is your consciousness. So you have to be complete, cut off the attachment, then you don't reborn again. I know some people don't like this. I don't reborn again mean I complete gone. Anyway, please don't ask me this question now, okay? It's up to that stage, it's very hard, because if you don't even see the arising and falling, the ceasing, and if you don't see that ceasing, you will never understand how good it is, because you still want something should be there. Okay? It's very hard. I just give you an idea to understand that's how Buddhism say Four Noble Truths in practice, and how you really can able to see it, and how you really can be complete, eradicate your suffering. From the small understanding to the big wisdom that become like Buddha or Arahant. Okay. All right, I can give a few minutes for you if you like to. You can ask any question if I can answer. Anyone? Yes.
When the repetition of happiness repeat too many times, and the sadness repeat too many times, it kinds of the two balance off.
You don't find a balance. You only find when there's a happiness too many times, the sadness too many times. Firstly, you might be trying to understand it, or maybe if you can almost like make it in a connection, then you'll find actually this is how it change.
Yes, then you understand that it's immeasurable.
It is what?
Immeasurable.
No, impermanence. Yes.
And then you become calm then. So you don't feel that excitement or extreme sadness.
Yeah, when you're observing it, it's true. Mm-hmm.
But when we become that stage, will we become a kind of numbness or feelingless?
No, because in Buddhism understand when you become that stage, mean you're in terms of feelings, you don't stay in the feelings of happiness, and you don't stay in the feelings of painful, but you stay in the feelings of neutral.
I think I'm losing my happiness and my sadness.
No. The problem is that you still attach to your happiness, or sometimes you hope that you come have the painful feelings to you. But don't forget, even the stage of neutral feelings will about to change to back to the happiness feelings and the painful feelings, and then back to the neutral feelings, and then they come back. Sometimes you can be stuck, even though you might be meditating in a certain good way, but you feel like you don't have any, almost like what we call like numb, something like that, because you are in the neutral feelings. It's good, you must have it, because most of our normal people don't experience the neutral feelings. They might very quickly, because you never like the neutral feelings, normal people. But when you narrow down all these feelings, sadness, happiness, whatever, like even you can talk about million of feelings, itchiness or whatever, but narrow it down, it's just only pleasure feelings, painful feelings, and neutral feelings. But however you meditate, have to up to a stage that you are in neutral feelings. This, I don't want to talk too much Buddhist term, like Qi Jue Si, in the 7 factors of enlightenment, in that you are in the the 色觉知, that means the factors of enlightenment of equanimity. That's how you can see much more clearly when you're neutral feelings, much more clearly about the impermanence thing. But then you still bound to back to the happy feeling. But however, if you have attachment, you don't want this, you don't want that, you can never progress. Because you didn't take it as the way it should be. Okay? You want to change it. Once you change it, it's attachment. When there's attachment, then you interrupt you to go further. Okay? You cannot change it. Okay? In other words, you still have a pride, attachment, and a proud. Okay? Yes.
Wait. I hope you still like me after I ask this question. Because I'm going to question.
But it's a nature, right? When I hear something disagree with my ears, I still feel don't like it, but that's a nature.
Yeah. Because I'm going to ask the basic purpose of the Buddha's teaching, maybe the premises. I hope I don't hold it too long. When I grew up, there was a commercial called, there's a running title saying, 只在乎曾经拥有，不在乎现场有，right? So I'm going to question, okay, we have the happiness, we have the suffering, and we know this is not permanent. For my person, I don't know anybody else, I do not see permanent happiness. Don't make me wrong, I come to Buddhism for happiness and got a lot of it, I'm grateful for it. But it's just like when I look at my life, there are happiness moments, there are suffering moments, there's a lot of suffering, but that's the dichotomy of happiness and suffering makes my life interesting and meaningful. It's just like watching a movie, I see the characters cry, I feel their pain, I was painful, and then I cry with the characters, but after that, the second time I still want to see that movie, just like that. So when I have a lot of suffering, I'm going to say goodbye to my sons and daughter permanently in the coming future someday, and it's sad, it's suffering, but I have had that. You know, before I leave the world, I have had that. I like that.
You like that?
I
Okay.
would come back to the earth to live again, and to live in every kind of characters, in every age. Maybe I want to come back 200 years later to see how the world is.
Okay.
Really. So I'm questioning why do we want to see permanent happiness? why do we want to leave the world permanently? I want to come back.
Well, of course, I'm not a Buddha, but I guess if you ask this question, my understanding of what the Buddha would say, this is because you have attachment. But you see some partly truth, but you still don't want to you still don't want to let go the last part of the existence of you. So, but that's but of course, those are the theory. But according to Buddhism, there were certain beings like a bodhisattva, Pusa, right? The Pusa actually in Mahayana Buddhism, the Pusa or the bodhisattva, so they wanted to live again and again. Actually, they still understand the Pusa or the bodhisattva. They actually understand the Four Noble Truths. But this is a tricky part. This is a very they have to remain something so that they can reincarnate it. They still have to remain something, very subtle thing. This is a big topic. I hope I'm not going to. So that they can reincarnate it, because they still can help people. But they still understand the Four Noble Truths, with what I just mentioned. Remember I say, first when you see all these things, and you see the ceasing, you understand the emptiness and all this, and then later on you understand the path and all. So that's why in the Bodhisattva, they still understand the ceasing of the attachment, but that go through the whole Four Noble Truths, they start to realize this is real Dharma, no any other thing. And this is the whole way. And you can, only that moment, only at that time, you choose to be a Bodhisattva, or you go further. Okay. Okay. Yes, yeah.
You said something earlier about this is a good thing, this is a bad thing, this is a good feeling, this is a bad feeling.
Yes.
So it sounds to me that in that description, there's an element of the mind getting into assessing or evaluating good, bad, and you also talking about acceptance and observing, and I would think in the quality of observing and accepting, you don't attach a good or a bad, you're just observing or just accepting, and I wonder if you can talk about that process in deepening the meditation or the connection to Buddhism nature.
Yeah, well, thank you. Actually, first when I say there's a good thing and bad thing, it's just, you might be able, like you say, you raise a good question. It's like you say, you first just to understand something that you call is good or bad, right? But then later on, like, you know, for example, the itching comes to you, you might be called as a bad, right? But some people call that as a good. For example, and if the people telling you when you have an itching sensation, you're doing better, then you think it's a good, right? Like you say. This is how the itching, like, it's really like there's a kind of, your memory may be telling you, or you've been conditioned by something first to, like you say, to decide whether it is a good or bad. It's true. But at the time, but you still have to be able to do that first, because then you start to see how your intention actually motivate you think this is good and bad, right? And later on, then you start to, like you say also, that you're able to distinguish, there's no itching. Itching is not a thing. It's just only you like it, you don't like it, or you feel nothing, neutral. I mean, this is very hard for people to understand neutral. That's why meditation does helping you a lot. When you practice a certain way, meditation or what, then you understand you still know the itching, but you don't feel like or don't like. I mean, this is very hard anyway. So, and now, yeah, you're right. And, but then, you know, then you find the important part is here, then you find actually still back, you can still back to understand it's a itching, right? Don't think that the Buddha doesn't know itching, okay? That's a hilarious thing. Everybody have a lot of fantasy about thinking of Buddha, if he's a Buddha. Buddha, something caught in your face. I have no feelings. So then this is, no, Buddha, no, oh yeah, he's crawling, he can take it out. You know, let's say there's a spider. You know. So he still know the itching, you know, cannot say no. So now, but then the itching come back, you know, after that, but then he will knowing, that's what the difference between the wisdom, then he know this itching, what happened? He do not have this idea. He might be feeling that I don't like it, or he feeling that I like it, or feeling like what, but he, because with the wisdom, he understand that there's, well, in Buddhist language we say there's no karma going on. So he doesn't have the attachment. He doesn't say, no, I don't want this, I want that, I don't know. So, because he completely understands the nature of it. So, I hope that answered the questions. Yeah, so, thank you, yeah. All right, thank you so much. Firstly, for you joining this, what is this? The Tom Times, 2 days Tongren's healing talk, and also thanks for your stay and at least have a chance to listen. What at least what I understand, the Four Noble Truths through the practice, and I hope that certainly I believe, of course, that if we accept that. Sometimes you have to look for a good life, have a nice thought, have compassionate mind to other people, but ultimately you have to accept the nature. So according to Buddhism, so through your really, really strong, focus, discipline, and concentrate wisdom, and then you definitely, that's how you're out of the suffering. So ultimately, at least you have get some idea what it is, the Four Noble Truths, and how does it should be able to see it. All right, thank you so much, and I hope tomorrow we will have a nice time again, okay? That will be another nice time again. All right, thank you so much, yeah.